He's the granddad who died in jail.
Yeah. In fact, I think you may have sent me the thing. So Peter Lynch is a 61-year-old man who was arrested during the Southport riots, or after the Southport riots, and he died yesterday in prison, committed suicide, I believe.
Yeah, that's what it looks like at the moment, suicide.
So what fascinated me about this story, Nick, and I'd be interested in your views. It came up in the papers, and it was kind of down the page. Riots, a 61-year-old rioter dies in jail. But what dominated the headlines yesterday was a character called Chris Kaba. Chris Kaba is a black, for our gentle viewers, Chris Kaba is a black criminal, basically, who was killed from London, who was killed by a policeman when he was trying to evade arrest, and I think he was threatening. I'm not quite sure of the circumstances. He
was in a car. He'd been stopped by a specialist police team where they box you in and stop you. He then started ramming the cars, trying to get out. He put the officers' lives in danger by trying to run him over as he's trying to get out of this box. The car was involved in the shooting the day before, and he was known to carry guns and be a major part of a gangster in London. So armed response were trying to stop him.
So for some reason, this Chris Kaba. So the story yesterday is the policeman who shot him was basically what's the word? Exonerated of found not guilty of murdering Chris Kaba, basically set free. And then it was all the headlines, top headlines: Chris Kaba killer set free or whatever. And then pictures of vigils of people saying justice for Chris Kaba and all that sort of stuff. People on posters and things like that. And I thought, what the hell? What about Peter Lynch? And Peter Lynch, just for clarity for our listeners, Peter Lynch, he had not done committed any violence. It was a hostel in Rotherham. He had simply been shouting, and I think the judge regarded he'd incited violence, or he was shouting at the cops or whatever. He was jailed for 3 years. This guy, not hurt anybody.
For shouting at the police.
And he has now died in. So my question to you, Nick, is: where are the vigils for Peter Lynch? Where are the protests on the streets? Where are the British people, the English people? You know, the people who want to go out and protest for this Chris Kaba criminal. You know, where are they?
Peter's got one thing against him, and it's because he's white. He's a white heterosexual male. If he'd have been a woman, gay, black, Muslim, Asian, disabled, and had committed suicide in jail, it would be frontline news, and there would be demonstrations, and all the charities would be involved. But because he was a straight old white man, no one gives a shit. In which case, everyone then looked at the Chris Kaba, who was a career criminal. His family are basically disgusting because they've been trying to portray him as a trainee architect. No, he was senior in one of the biggest violent gangs in London. I can understand them being upset. It doesn't matter if your child is a violent criminal. If they're killed, you're still going to be upset, and you still love that child. I get that. But all I want to hear from his family is a big sorry. I'd like to apologise to the British people, because we moved here as a family from Africa, and you've given us this great life. And unfortunately, we weren't good enough parents, and we raised our child to be a violent criminal who kills other black youths in this country. And we'd like to apologise for that, and we're sorry he's died, and we still love him. Well, I'd accept all that. But they wanted him to be the next George Floyd, because if they can paint him as that means they did nothing wrong as parents. And the truth is, they did everything wrong as parents. They came to the greatest country in the world and still messed it all up. Just like Africa's a shithole, they messed it all up. And we've got to start holding these people accountable and saying to them, it's not racism that's holding you back, it's your culture. It's your parenting skills. It's the way you raise your children. That's what's wrong here. It's not racism. But then looking back to the granddad, Peter, who killed himself in jail, never should have been in jail in the first place.
Correct.
Should he have been prosecuted for what he did at the demonstrations? There's an argument for that. But regardless of all that, nobody else in that position ever would have gone to jail. A non-violent demonstration for shouting and screaming at the police. The only video you can find online of him at demonstrations is him walking up to the police with his hands like that, praying and shouting at him, but his hands are like that, and
there's no violence,
and they're whacking the shields at him and pushing him back, and he walks up to them again like that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's breaking the law or not, but at no point could he say any violence. We need to look at our criminal justice system, and Keir Starmer needs to look at himself and say, who caused this man to kill himself? And the answer is easy, it's the state. It's the criminal justice system. It's Keir Starmer, it's his government who demanded these people go to jail.
Yeah.
At the same time, paedophiles are being let off and being given suspended sentences, but we're letting a non-violent old man go to jail. Yesterday was a really good example of our two-tier policing system. Career criminal gets all the headlines because he's been killed, who was trying to injure and kill other officers, and an old man who was sent to jail and never should have been sent to jail got no press time whatsoever because he was an old white straight man. That's our criminal justice system in a snapshot in one day.
I just don't understand why the people are not going on the streets now to protest about this.
Because he's a good example. Because A, you'll be locked up, and B, you might be dead in jail.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's kind of, here's a message for you.
Here's the message. We'll lock you up.
Yeah.
You'll either kill yourself in jail, or maybe you'll get murdered in jail.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel. I need more followers. I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.